Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to today's live stream. And I wanted to come out here and talk about a concept called the blue note, right? A lot of guys don't know that there's actually more than one blue note, okay? And we're going to explore these mysteries right now. So we'll go to a key. Let's go to a cool guitar key, like let's say the key of G. Okay. Now, a lot of guys think about the flat 5 thing for a blue note. In other words, they're familiar with this like blues scale, right? And that flatted 5 thing. And they think that, okay, a lot of guys just think that that's the only blue note. But here's the deal. There's a lot of other blue notes. That's just one. And let's think about this for a second. Now look, we're going to just say we're in the key of G major, okay? And we're going to look at this from the perspective of being in a blues, where we're looking at like, you know, G major, a 1-4-5 thing, you know, 12 bar kind of thing, maybe a shuffle, right? And we're rocking through on major chords, right? You know, D, C, and G chords. Okay, well, if we're using a minor pentatonic scale, well, we're using a scale that is a minor scale over a major chord, right? In this case, it's a G minor pentatonic scale. And we're looking at a G major chord, right? And our pentatonic scale has this flat third in it. Okay, but we have a major third in the G major chord, right? So basically we're looking at a B flat for the minor third where it's B natural in the chord. G, B, and D, there's your 1-3-5 triad thing for a chord, right? Okay. Right? Those are the only notes you're going to find. So that minor third, what do we hear a lot of cats do, right? Well, you know, they right? All the cool guitar players that we all know and love, Stevie Ray, Clapton, Hendrix. Well, you get resolution, right, by going from that minor third to the major third. Right? And so that minor third, just like this flat 5 that we have in the blues scale, right? That blue note, well, the minor third is a blue note. Okay? So now, this opens up some doors, doesn't it? Well, what's the story with a blue note, right? We need to understand that. And it's really a simple concept, okay? It's not very difficult to know what a blue note is. In a nutshell, a blue note is any note that creates tension, okay? And we have this in any scale. The pentatonic, minor pentatonic, the major pentatonic scale. Any major or minor scale that you can think of has tension and resolution. And that's what we hear when we go from a minor third in the minor pentatonic scale, right? We hear that resolution. Classic blues lick, right? Guys like Tiny Grimes, a jump blues guy, they use this stuff all the time. tension in the minor third. That's what's happening there. Go up a half step, poof, instant resolution, instant consonance, right? From dissonance to consonance. So the minor third in the minor pentatonic scale is also a blue note, okay? What else could be considered a blue note in that scale? Well, the fourth could be also. You know, basically anything that's not a scale tone, or a chord tone I should say, anything that's not a chord tone, like a G, a B, or a D note in the case of this G chord, right? Anything that's not a chord tone can be looked at in this case as a blue note because it's going to create some kind of tension, like that wants to resolve to a chord tone. Okay, we want to resolve to chord tone. So, with that said, we could view anything that is in the scale that is not a chord tone as a blue note, just in a nutshell, because it is going to create some kind of tension that can be resolved to a more satisfying sound, okay, where you have the consonants. So, the dominant 7 that lives here, also in this pentatonic, minor pentatonic scale, it's going to be the fifth note of the scale, is going to be a dominant 7 tone, okay? Well, that, if it's just a major chord like G major, you can kind of hear, right? It wants to go home to that whole step 2 frets above it, home to the root notes of the G. It wants to go there. Right? And bend into that major third from the minor third, right? So that lick right there is using all these blue note concepts that all are notes that want to resolve to a chord tone. There's that dominant 7 again, right here. You know, 6th fret of your B string in a minor pentatonic scale in G. Classic bendinaciousness, right? Where you go to home, to the root, to the G note that lives here, right? Off that bend. Okay? So, now, I'm going to show you guys a really cool exercise, okay, that's going to help your ear, and it's also going to help your guitar solos, okay, because what it does is it helps you be able to identify blue notes, okay, which are going to be basically any note that wants to resolve, right, to a strong consonant tone, which is going to be a chord tone, okay. You know, a chord, you know, a note in a chord. And if we're looking at a G chord here, right, we know we're looking at G, B, and D notes. Those are the root, the major third, and the fifth of your chord. We don't want to get too techno geeky about it, but just that's your basic major chord is a root, 1, major third, and a fifth. And they happen to be a G, a B, and a D if it's a G major chord, okay? And we're just sticking to the triad. We're not going to get into any other crazy chord stuff. But it's good to keep it simple, okay? It's good to keep this stuff simple. And here's a really simple exercise that does require knowing the major scale, okay? And I'm going to use a major scale here that most folks know, all right? And if you don't know it, well, I'll show it to you real quick. It's a G major scale that we're going to play, which is just 3rd fret low E, 5th fret low E, right? Then 2nd fret of the A string to the 3rd fret of the A string to the 5th fret of the A string, right? Then we go to the D string at the 2nd fret, 4th fret, and 5th fret. And there it is. There's the major scale right there, and you can go in an entire 2-octave block of that bad boy if you want, right? But we're just going to hang out here in the bottom register of the scale, and here's the exercise to help you be able to start using blue notes really effectively, and effectively use them in your guitar solos, okay? And it all comes down to simply using our ears, which is what music's all about anyway. Listening and hearing stuff. Music is sound. Sonic stuff, right? It's all about sound. So a lot of guys think of the major scale as the happy scale, right? Happy songs use the major scale, right? Like that Sound of Music thing. Okay. Now, the scale, even though it's kind of like the happy thing, right? And the major pentatonic is the same deal. Has that happy sound? Okay. So, but there's a lot of tension in a major scale, right? Now you might not have been aware of that, but now you're going to start to hear it, and this is, like I said, this is going to help you with your guitar solos and stuff, because now you'll be able to use tension and resolution to your advantage the more that you hear this. Check it out. We have a series of intervals, which are basically a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, and a seventh, right? We have 7 notes, 7 diatonic notes. A little theory geekery, but it's okay to know this stuff, okay? A little bit of it. It's good to know. We have 7 notes in a major scale, and then the 8th note really is just a repeating first note, either an octave above or an octave below in the pitch. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then you're just back at 1 again, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. So there's really just 7 notes in a major scale. Just like there's only 5 notes in a minor pentatonic scale, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you're back at 1 again, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. So 5 notes in the pentatonic scale, and the major scale is 7 diatonic notes. So a major scale is a diatonic scale. Minor pentatonic is 5-note scale. But okay, back to the major scale. Check it out. Here's the exercise. Okay? If we're in the key of G, it's easy to do this exercise using this particular scale shape that I'm showing you, right? Okay, now we start listening. Well, the first interval is the second, it's a major second, it's the second note. Now, if you play these notes back to back, where you hear them both at the same time, and I'll play that open A string because it's the same note as the A note that I'm hitting with my pinky up here, but check this out. Listen to what this sounds like. Hear that? It's not a very consonant sound at all. It's very dissonant, right? Very tense. What does that want to do, right? It wants to resolve, right, to this third that lives above it. Okay? And you could hear that. Once you do that, whoa, oh my God, it sounds a lot more consonant. All of a sudden, it kind of starts sounding happy again, right? And of course, that third happens to be the major third in a G chord, so we're beaming in, right? We're beaming into a chord tone, okay, which a root and a third is very, very consonant. There's good resolution, right? But that major second is very tense. There's no resolution there. It wants to either go up to that third or really go back home again to the root note, which wants to go up or down though. It wants to move somewhere. You could tell it's pulling you to move somewhere to resolve. But then, okay, what's the next note in our scale, right? And, well, it's this fourth right here. That C note right there. Now, That's not super tense, but you can kind of hear that it wants to kind of go somewhere though, doesn't it? If you go back down a half step to that major third where we just were before, there's resolution right there. It's instant. You hear it, it's like tension and then breath of fresh air, it resolves. You can chill out for a minute, right? And it's like that second, it either wants to go down to a resolve on the third, or it wants to go to the next chord tone, which would be the fifth above it. Yeah, and there's resolution there too. It's not quite as strong as the third, but it's a chord tone and it's pretty resolve-nacious. There's resolution there. So that fourth, not as bad as the second, right? But resolving to that third is nice with the fourth, or going up to the fifth is pretty cool too. That works nicely as well. Which brings us right to the next scale tone, the sixth one, because so far we've done 5 of them, right? A root 1, a second, a third, a fourth, right? Then a fifth. And then the next one is the sixth, right? I call this the space interval, right? Because it sounds like you're floating around out in space or something, or up in the clouds with this one. It's kind of like the limbo interval. It wants to kind of go back down again, kind of, to resolve at this fifth, right? You could hear it. Feels good when you go there. Now, again, it's kind of like the fourth. It's not super tense, but it's kind of a little bit tense. It's kind of like an out there sound. But once you go down right to that fifth, that chord tone, remember 1, a root, a third, or a fifth, major third or a fifth, is going to be instant resolution off of anything that's giving you any dissonance of any kind, or tension. There's a little bit of tension in that sixth. It wants to go somewhere. Because right now it's out in limbo, but you go to the fifth and bam, it's grounded again, you know, it's both feet on the ground kind of thing. Okay? Now the next tone, right, we're moving up the line. We've already done 6 diatonic tones. The next one's going to be the 7th diatonic tone, right, of the major scale. Now this is pretty tense. That's a very tense interval. The 6th would not resolve to go to that 7. You'd want to kind of bypass it, like the 7 wants to like kind of do, and go home again to the root note that lives a half step above it, where it resolves extremely awesomely, right? Tension on the 7, but instant resolution going home to the root note, where now we're just playing an octave now. Or we've heard this tension and resolution stuff many times, and I don't remember if that was Beethoven or Bach or whatever. Ode to Joy, Beethoven. Okay, and they understood the tension and resolution thing, obviously, when they wrote that one. And any good musician, any good guitar player gets hip to this concept. Eventually they start to realize that, you know, hey man, there's tension and resolution in like even a happy sounding scale, like the major scale. Octaves, roots, super resolution, it's awesome resolution. Go down a half step though to, and obviously playing these back to back like this at the same time really helps you get it in your ear, right? Go down a half step to that major 7 interval, right? It's very tense. I mean, even going to the limbo interval, the 6th, is like resolves to some degree, right? But that kind of still really wants to go to that 5th, which is a chord tone, which is serious resolution, right? Then go down to the 4th, right? We hear again, kind of like the other limbo interval really is this 4th, which wants to either go up to the 5th, right, to resolve, or down to the 3rd to resolve. And then you got the major 2nd, which is kind of very similar to the 7th, right? They're very dissonant. The most dissonant intervals of the scale are this major 7 and the major 2nd, which major 2nd wants to either go up to the 3rd again, or just to a root. Either that octave, whatever, but a 1 wants to go back down to the 1 or up to the 3rd. So, this exercise will give you some serious insight and expand your musical vocabulary exponentially. Very simple exercise, but it's extremely profound and powerful, because now you are hip to this concept of tension and resolution. And yes, now you can use this in any situation to create tension, which is going to have your listener want to hear what's going down. Because whenever you create tension, in something, the listener pulls them in, man, Okay, so have fun with this awesome tidbit of knowledge now. And the more that you do this exercise, and remember, you could do this exercise anywhere, because once you understand the scale, right, you can move it around. Okay, and start developing your ear. Spend like 5 minutes just messing around with this exercise, and you, trust me, are going to have some serious breakthroughs in what you hear, which is going to translate to you being able to play cooler, hipper, better sounding lines on your guitar. Okay. Now I do have a link in my description. I have some lesson packages out there, and if you'd like to help support the channel, you can check that link out. And everything comes with printable tabs and charts, and it will help you get your chops up, and helps me keep bringing the content out here to everybody on YouTube. And of course, just if you dig my videos, like if you dug today's video and you like to come out here and hear these things that I do on my YouTube channel, definitely hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, okay? And tick that notification icon to be on your way to playing better guitar. All right, I'm Brian K, and I will see you again next time. Peace.